everyone, I have a question for you. Are you an amateur artist who feels stuck in their work, or are you someone who wants to get started, but you don't know how? Today, I'm going to teach you a cool tip to further your art: references. Hello, my name is Abigail Hogan, and today I'm going to show you how to use references in your art. Now, you may be wondering what I'm talking about. Well, according to Cecilie Valderrama, who is a professional artist online with her own blog, a reference is a tool for artists to study the characteristics of what we want to draw. It's a fundamental of art, but it's something you may or may not necessarily think to use. Some people even have the weird idea that using a reference is cheating, but artists aren't perfect, and it's impossible to know how to draw everything. When you have the resources to study a subject, it becomes way more familiar to you, which makes it way easier to draw. Now, that sounds very vague, but I'm going to explain to you what a reference is. Well, as I said before, it's a tool for artists to be able to study something that they want to draw. There are two different types of references: a 2D reference, which is basically just a picture, and a 3D reference, which is any object in real life, or it could be a digital model online. This is going to be my reference for today, which I chose because it's very simple and easy to draw. But that's very vague as well, and it also may be a little scary to think about. But it's okay, because every artist uses one at some point, and it's actually standard in the industry to use references, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Now, why would you use one, and how do you use one? The reason you would use a reference is because it improves the accuracy and detail of your art. You can't really draw what you don't know, and you can easily forget about key features of something. Have you ever tried to draw something from memory and it didn't seem quite right? Well, that's because your brain can't remember every single detail. And it also makes it so that you can draw different angles of whatever. Now, I could take a picture of him like this, or like this, or like this. In any way, I could basically draw him every which way possible if I so desired. References can also improve the speed of art, because if you know more about something, then it's way faster to draw it. But, how do you use one? There's actually 3 different types of ways. There's copying what you see, which is very, very explanatory. There's tracing, with the sole purpose of studying. This is not tracing and trying to pass off your work as other people's. There's a fundamental difference. There's also using guidelines, which is kind of copying what you see, kind of tracing, could not be. Now, you're probably wondering, well, that sounds fine and dandy, but what am I supposed to use? Well, I have a digital tablet. Really, all I need is my tablet and my pen and whatever I want to draw. But you can also use traditional art. You can use pen and paper, colored pencils, paints. You could even make collages. As long as you have something that you want to make art of and it's representational art, then you're fine. Now, today I'm going to show you how to do it. I have my little guy sitting right on the table. And first, I'm just going to look at him slightly. I'm going to take a few looks at him every so often. I'm just going to draw the simple form. This is not supposed to be pretty. This is not supposed to be 100% accurate. All you're doing is getting the essence of the shape, form, and details by looking. You can also refine it later as you so desire. It may not look the best, but as you draw, you're going to start to see that you understand your subject way better. That was really fast, right? And it looks way more refined. Don't they look similar? Now, tracing does not also have to be accurate either. You can just trace around the form like this. You can fill in the details later as you so desire, but this is also just so we can study our subject. This is not supposed to be accurate. The reason I'm reminding you of this is because, well, most artists forget that sometimes. And with guidelines, how you would do it on digital art is you're just measuring how long and wide something is. You can even get the extra details if you want. And I'm going to hide my reference and then just fill in. It's very simple. And just like before, we're not worried about perfection or anything. We're just trying to get the features. See how easy that was? Now for guidelines and for tracing, it'd be a different story if you're doing it traditionally. If you're tracing, you would take like something 2D that you can lay flat, and then you would put it under your paper and just line out the details as fast as you can. And for using guidelines on traditional art, a trick that I've learned is you take your pen or pencil or whatever, you hold it up to your face, then you get your reference and you measure how long it is on your pen. And then you put your paper in front of it and you mark out the top and bottom and then the sides of whatever you're trying to draw. And then you can fill in the details by copying what you see. So it's kind of like tracing and copying at the same time. Now that I've shown you how to use them, you're probably wondering, where do you get them? There's actually a plethora of available sources online. You can get them on social media like Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, which is a very popular one with artists. You can go to pose and gesture websites, which is very dedicated to the human form, and it has many images like clothed, naked, men, women, children, whatever you need to draw, it's right there. And there's also stock image websites. Everyone knows what a stock image is. Everyone's probably used one at some point, but you probably haven't even thought to use one as a reference for your art. But you can, and it's quite common to do so. You can also make them by yourself. You can take pictures of yourself. You can pose, take a picture of your face, your hands, legs, arms, full body, whatever you want to do. And you can also take images of stuff in real life. You can even get different angles, like I mentioned earlier, so that you can draw it 3D if you wanted to. You can even make a 3D model using a reference, if you so desired. In conclusion, we now know that using a reference is an essential tool under your belt if you're an artist. It's used by everyone, no matter the skill level, and it can greatly benefit you. There's also many resources available online for you. You just have to look them up. You can also take pictures of yourself, take photos if you're stuck in your work and you don't know what to draw, or you feel like you can't draw something accurately. It doesn't matter which way you do it, because you'll start to see substantial improvements in your work once you start using references. Thank you for listening. Once again, this is Abigail Hogan, and that was how to use references in your art.